Okay, one good morning to everyone. Today we will be starting Newton's law of gravitation. So if we consider two masses m1 and m2, and if it is separated by some distance r, right? So what will be the force on first body due to second body, right? So force on first body due to second body means second body will be attracting this mass m1 with a force how much, right? With a force which is directly proportional to product of masses between them and inversely proportional to square of distance between them. So F12, its magnitude is directly proportional to what? M1 M2 by r square. So if I will remove this proportionality sign, it will become F12 will be equal to what? G M1 M2 by r square. So what is this G? G is your gravitational constant, right? And what is the value of it? So value of G is 6.67 into 10 to the power minus 11. And if I will ask you what will be the unit of this G, how you will be finding it? So the unit of G will be force into r square by m1 m2. What is the unit of force? Unit of force is Newton. Unit of length is what? Meter. So Newton meter square per kg square, right? Newton meter square per kg square. Okay? Have you understood this, right? So according to Newton's law of gravitation, in this universe, right, every body attracts another body with a force which is directly proportional to product of masses between them and inversely proportional to square of distance between them, right? So a magnitude of force will be G m1 m2 by r square. And this Newton's law of gravitation is also known as what? Universal law of gravitation. Universal law of gravitation. Why this law is known as universal law of gravitation, right? Why Coulomb's law or any other law is not considered as universal law of gravitation? Because you must be knowing that whenever two charges will be submerged in some other medium, right? So its value is going to change, right, according to the medium. But in the case of of gravitation or a force, gravitational force, this value will never change. If that two masses is in air, or will put it in water, or will put that two masses in other spaces, right? The value or the magnitude of force will always be G m1 m2 by r square. It is not going to change. For that reason, it is known as what? Universal law of gravitation. Have you understood this, right? So in order to solve questions related to Newton's law of gravitation, we need to understand certain points. So what will we understand? So there are certain points which we have to note it down. The first point is a force on first body due to second body, right? So we know that what does F12 means? F12 means force on first body due to second body. Means second body is attracting this mass towards itself. So what will be the direction of it in this direction, F12? Okay. Now if I ask you, sir, what will be F21? F21 means force on second body due to first body. So force on second body due to first body. So this first body will be attracting this mass towards itself. Towards itself means this direction. So this will be your F21. Right? So sir, from here we can see that F12 and F21 both are in opposite direction, right? The magnitude wise both are same. Magnitude wise I can write it down here, right? F12 magnitude is equal to F21. Both magnitude are same, right? But their direction is opposite. Means I can write F12 vector is equal to minus F21 vector. Means the magnitude wise they are same and direction wise they are opposite, right? So we have already studied in NLM, right? Newton's third law of motion. that for every action there is equal and opposite reaction, and action and reaction both acts on two different bodies. So we can see here, right, the forces magnitude wise they are same, direction wise they are opposite, and they are acting on two different bodies. So can I say that they form reaction pair, right? So they are forming what? Action reaction here, right? So you must be knowing that there are certain conditions to form action reaction here, right? So both forces should have same nature if they need to satisfy action reaction here, right? So from here we can see that both the forces are gravitational force, right? It's not like that one force is gravitational, other is of another nature, electrostatic or magnetic force. As both the forces are gravitational in nature, so we can say that they are what? Action reaction here, right? That means I can conclude that it validate Newton's third law of motion. So if we understand these all certain points, then we can easily solve questions related to Newton's laws of motion, right? So I will be solving one question. Let us see, right? So I have considered one equilateral triangle, right, whose sides are same, as we know that, and the masses are at here. If anyone will ask you what will be the force acting on this mass, what will be the force acting on this mass, you are required to find, right? So already we have discussed according to Newton's laws of motion, right, and at every body in this universe will attract another body with a force which is equal to gm1 m2 by r square, right? So a force which will be acting on this mass, right, will be due to these two masses. So this mass will attract this mass with a force which is equal to g m1 m2. m1 m2 means both the masses are same, and gm square by distance between them is what? How much? A. So gm square by a square. And if I'll ask you what will be the force, right, with this mass will be attracting this mass, right, it will be also equal to what? Gm square by a square, right? Because it is attractive in nature, so these two masses will attract this mass towards each other. But this mass will not go in this direction, neither they will go in his direction nor in his direction. So in which direction this mass will move? So it will move in the resultant of the force between these two masses, which is this direction. So how will we find the magnitude of F net? As we know that force is a vector quantity, and we need to solve here, right, and F net means these two forces there, F1 vector and F2 vector. We need to add, right, in vectorically we need to add these two. And we know that how to solve, right, how to add two vectors. The formula is how much? F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos theta, right? So what is theta here, right? Means if two vector is given F1 and the another vector is F2 and the angle between the two vectors is theta, then the net force is how much? F1 square plus F2 square plus 2 F1 F2 cos theta root over, right? So here I can see that F1 value is gm square by a square, F2 value is gm square by a square, right? So can it write it down that F1 is equal to F2 is equal to gm square by a square, right? And in order to simplify, right, in a very easy manner, can it write it as x so that our simplification will become 0? And what will be the value of theta? What is the angle between these two vectors? As it is an equilateral triangle, so the angle between them will be how much? 60 degree, right? So if I will put this value, F net will be equal to what? X square plus F2 is also x. So x square plus 2, x into x is how much? X square and cos 60 degree, right? So if I will find the value of F net, it will become x square plus x square is what? 2x square plus 2x square cos 60. What is the value of cos 60? 1 by 2. So I will be writing here 1 by 2. So f net will be equal to how much? 3 square. Right? So can I write it down that f net will be equal to root 3x? And as I have considered the value of x, right, to be what? Gm square by a square. Gm square by a square is equal to x I have considered. So instead of x, can I place this value? So f net will be equal to root 3 gm square by a square. Okay? So in this manner, we can find the resultant of the two forces. Okay? Okay, thank you.